Hello, all you hardcore boxing fans out there. How are you doing? Big introduction to you all on YouTube. You keep tuning in, so thank you very much. Uh, I've just been watching a good video. I don't know if anybody's seen it. King of New York, Christopher Walken. I'd recommend it. Mr. Frank White. He's the main man in New York. Mr. Frank White. Uh, anyway, gangster films aside, today I'm joined by Kent, all the way from Belfast in Northern Ireland. How are you doing, lad?
Good afternoon, Russell. How you doing?
All right. I like your cap you've got on there. What's that say on top of it?
This is an official Porky's Corner Lacoste hat. So the way I see it is, Derek Chisora doesn't pay me to wear the hat. He didn't buy me the hat, so why should I wear it?
Go on, Ken. You're learning, kid. You're learning.
Porky's Corner. There you go. So it's great. We had it came yesterday. It's Lacoste. It's multi-fit. So it fits my wee pea head. I have a wee pea head, so it fits the pea head well. So it does.
What's the pea head? A pinhead, like a small head.
Yeah, we small head.
Oh, right.
I remember when I was boxing, like head guards was a nightmare. I could only wear one type of head guard that actually fitted when I was boxing. Every time used to come down my head, so I used to hate wearing the head guard because I had a pin head.
Well, at least you're honest, Kent, aren't you? A lot's gone on since we last spoke. Well, I'll let you surmise about what's gone on. Take it away. You've got all your notes and that.
So two weeks ago, Conor McGregor was announced, and Sky announced it as the next. They're probably their first flagship fight on Sky on Boxer. Boxer announced it. It's their first flagship fight on Sky. It will be Sky Box Office. There's a lot of talk about the fight. Yeah, I'll not watch it. Will I, won't I? He's past it. And that's fair enough. Eddie Hearn came out and said that it wasn't really a great fight at this stage of the career. He wouldn't pay the purses. It didn't seem to be, he was kind of flagging it off because he didn't get the fight. And it sold out in 10 minutes. It's 21,000. It's sold out. We look at the last couple of weeks in British boxing, and especially with Matchroom, the whole Sheffield bill was a disaster. There was nobody at it at all. No one. They had that whole Dillian Whyte injury against Otto Wallen. He pulled out at the last minute. There was nobody at that either. Then Conor McGregor, two guys who are meant to be past it, sell out 21,000. So it shows that boxing's kind of, I think it's good for boxing. I think it's good that people are actually saying we're going to go and watch boxing and sell out somewhere like that without it being Anthony Joshua.
Yeah, I think that a lot of people will want to back the show because that lot are not involved. Had a Matchroom with it.
No, nothing whatsoever. And it just goes to show you now that, as much as boxing in the UK, we look at cards getting cancelled at the last minute. We look at shows that, we look at the Frank Warren show at York Hall. There was nobody at it. And those other two cards that I had spoken about, the selling, the card didn't sell well. So it just goes to show that it's good that we can see something. People are starting to get behind, boxing again, in the new year. It's just after Christmas. People spend a lot of Christmas, and it's good to see that, people actually are investing and spending on a big card in the UK that isn't anything to do with Matchroom or Queensberry.
Yeah, it's. Do you feel that about the last couple of years they've not really given us what we've wanted, Matchroom and Queensberry? And do you think that it's come home to roost for them now?
Yeah, people are just sick of it. Absolutely sick of it. I think the good thing about the boxer and Ben Shalom is he doesn't have any grievances with anyone. He doesn't have any background with any of the promoters. So for him making fights, it's going to be a lot better for the viewership. He can work with other promoters now. Richard Schaffner is based now in the UK with his company. So there could be an avenue. They don't have a real TV deal as such yet. So there is another avenue as well. You've got Mick Hennessy on Channel 5, who's putting on consistently solid shows, once a month, which is good. You've got Queensberry and Matchroom who don't work with each other. And I think it's really, really been bad for the sport. I think the fans have been hurt by it, and the boxers aren't getting, a living because the fights really, you've got British title fights that aren't even happening now because rival promoters, that should not be happening at that level.
Why aren't the board stepping in, Ken, and doing something and saying, hang on a minute, come on, you need to get some of these area belts and English and British belts used, and and let's have them out there earning. Why aren't they putting the foot down instead of having all these trinket belts all the time?
Well, Russell was seeing a card at the weekend, and I think there was 3 WBA Continental titles on it, the Matchroom card. And I think it's really bad for boxing. I think it's bad for boxing as in, you can get a fighter, an unbeaten fighter, and you can bring somebody over from South America, from Europe, from Africa, who could have like a 19-0 record and be absolutely hopeless. It's not really developing fighters. They're not matching fighters. We've seen Mick Hennessy show the other week. His co-main event was an area belt. When was the last time? And it was a really, really good fight. When was the last time, Matchroom or Queensberry had a belt on the line? It was an area. You go way, way back, and there was a great fight I remember watching. It was 2 unbeaten fighters. It was Spencer Alver. I think he was 14-0 at the time against Patrick Mullins, who was like 12-0 at the time. I'm not 100% on the records, but they fought for the area belt, 2 unbeaten fighters from rival camps. So that was back then. Now that doesn't seem to happen at all. We went through a period there. Probably Julian spoke about it the other day there on the video, and he spoke about a time that the UK had like the light middleweights. They had Richard Williams, had Takaloo, had Steve Roberts, they had Anthony Farnell, and all these guys had different trinket belts. They had WBF World, IBO World, WBU World, and none of them even fought because at that time. And the thing what was happening, they were all British/European fighters, but they weren't fighting for those domestic titles, but they were just picking and choosing Sancho and taxi drivers from all around, Europe and South America, picking whoever they wanted. So the British title was getting hurt. The European title was getting hurt. The Commonwealth title was getting hurt. And then that drips feeds down. Then you've got guys there who maybe aren't ready for British level, but because there's nobody fighting for those belts, they're getting British title fights. And then when they go up another level, they're not even ready for European level. And it's just drift fed down. And the board aren't doing anything about it at all. Do the board do anything about anything, Russell?
Boxing board have no control, isn't it?
They had this thing a couple of years ago where they actually banned Sky were showing these fights all the time. And the British Boxing Board of Control actually turned around and refused to sanction WBU. I think the WBU at the time was based upstairs in a kebab shop upstairs in Camden Town somewhere. So they actually went and says, right, we're not sanctioning WBF, WBU, IBO titles. And it worked for a while, but it's just seemed to creep back in to the schedules and the cards.
Not good, is it?
No, well, when was the last time you seen a really, really, really good British title fight?
Joe Joyce against the Bar.
Yep, that was last year. Richards against Shaq Peters, one of my Canassie shows.
Yeah.
But we shouldn't be saying, yeah, that was a year ago. That was 10 months ago. We should be saying that every other week. We should be seeing British titles, Commonwealth titles, European titles every other week. We're not.
Do you think Eddie Hearn and Frank will try and get these British titles active again?
I think they're going to need to. I think the thing about the British title is that you don't need to fly people over from South America, from Europe. So the fights should be really easy to make, and they should be more cost effective. They don't need to put anybody up in flights, accommodation, camps. It actually probably would cost them more by WBA international trinket belts, where the British title is a local thing. It's just like get a train up or drive up and stay in a hotel. So they should be doing that. They should be doing that, but they should be doing a lot of things, Russell, and they're not. So, where do you start?
Yeah. What did you think to Conor Benn's performance at the weekend in Liverpool, Ken?
I was speaking to Richard about it at the weekend, and I've been thinking about it the last few days, and I've kind of came to the conclusion, yes, he has improved. He was better in that fight, and he was moving better. He was pivoting better. He showed something a wee bit different. He showed that he could win fights other than loading up in hooks. It was a straight shot he landed with, and it was a good win for him. But you go into it and you think, am I fighting contenders or am I fighting a name? So there's a big difference. Yes, everyone was on speaking about it. It was his first name win. That's fine. He beat a name, but he didn't beat a contender. There's a big difference in beating a name fighter who's way past their best, beating a live contender like Virgil Ortiz or Jerome Ennis. There's a big, big gap there in ability, class from... Yeah. So it was what it was. He did what he was meant to do against a 37-year-old.
What did you think to Tony Bellew's performance and Andy Lee as commentator pundits for the Ben Algieri fight?
I just think they have to sell Conor Benn. They have to sell. They have to sell it now. I did think Andy Lee really kind of disagreed with Bellew a couple of times, and he said that basically, he needs more performances before he goes right up in the proper world level. And Tony Bellew was disagreeing. Tony Bellew was like, he's at world level now type of thing, and I don't agree with that. I think they're there to sell that product. They're DAZN. They're not independent. They're paid by DAZN. So they have to read that narrative. They have to say that narrative. And that's the narrative that turned boxing fans off Sky and really, really got people sick of Matchroom and their cards. So he is their flagship fighter now. Let's be honest. He is their flagship fighter now. I can't see AJ coming back and getting that, regaining that world title. So that's not going to happen. No. And I think Eddie knows that. So he is their flagship fighter, and
he's the only one for the UK that they're going to do pay-per-view with now, in here at this moment. I don't think.
Yes,
they're not doing it with Derek Chisora, are they, for Parker fight?
No, because he's 12 or 13 losses. So, where is Chisora and Parker going to go after this? So they're going to go and probably fight Zhang next. That's because those three guys are going absolutely nowhere in the heavyweight division. Yeah. But we'll get to that in a minute. But what you're saying there, Russell's right. You know, he's that only flagship fighter. And we go back last week and we go back and we hear the rhetoric of Eddie, sour grapes about not getting the Brook Khan fight, and he wasn't going to pay, you know, the purse, and it wasn't what he thought it was worth, so he didn't take it. So if them two guys are past their best, Russell, and they're not where they're at, and he wasn't willing to pay that purse, why is Conor Benn calling out Conor Brook?
I don't know. Why would he be doing that when Eddie Hearn said that Khan Brook, they're both past the sell-by date, and it's a one-sided win for Conor Benn. So why is Conor Benn calling him out? Is he just carrying on with playing to the script, to the narrative like they do with WWE? Are they all are they going out of character now, or I don't know? When can Conor Benn go back to being Conor Benn and not this Conor Benn Mayweather type alter ego thing? Because he's trying to be two different people, isn't he, at the moment, I think.
So you spoke on that there, the alter ego thing. So we go back and we look at Mayweather, and we look at Mayweather at a time. Russell wasn't really selling well in America. You know, he wasn't selling pay-per-view. He wasn't really selling out arenas or cards. He was a great fighter, but he needed to change, and that's when the whole De La Hoya Mayweather fight changed that, and that's when the Money character came in, and that's when the Floyd Money Mayweather character came in and just took over boxing, and it was that alter ego change that he needed at that stage of his career. He was a world champion. He was a solidified world champion. He was had multiple defenses, but he still needed that something else. And that alter ego, the Money character, changed it for him. So we got Conor Benn now, who's just developing as a fighter, and he's trying to get a fan base, and he's changed character too early. So I can't like to him. I wouldn't pay to watch him because I just don't like him as a character. I don't like him as a personality. I think he's very arrogant, and I can't warm to that. You know, boxing, Russell, would you agree? Was boxing a working class sport?
Yeah, of course it was. Yeah.
You know, you go back and you look at the British fighters, Irish fighters. We look at Barry McGuigan, working class family, Clonus. We look at Henry Cooper, working class fighter. We look at Frank Bruno, working class, Charlie Magri, Terry Lawless. You know, all these great names. Colin Jones, you know, Lloyd Hunnigan. These were all working class people. These were all of working class. So the masses that watch boxing at that time were working class. So they're going to like those fighters because they can identify with them. I just can't identify with Conor Benn. I don't like him. I think he comes across totally wrong. And I don't think he sells pay-per-view well because why would you want to watch someone that you don't like?
Yeah, maybe. My argument with Conor Benn is this: shut your mouth and crack on and get some belts picked up from beginning of your career from level 1 upwards. You mind jumping in with an intercontinental belt and then a world ranking at number 6 after 18 months as a fighter? They some took him out of that top 6, didn't they, when everybody kicked off, didn't they?
Yeah. You called it there about a month ago. You know, Campbell Hatton in a year's time could be holding a WBA Continental or Intercontinental or Global. That's how bad, the standard is. You know, you're not fighting ranked. The promoters are picking these guys to fight as opponents for these trinket belts. And on the back of that, they're getting world rankings. So, you know, for me, I will get behind Conor Benn if he starts being more humble and he fights David Avanesian for a European title. You know, the European title is always the gatekeeper belt to world level. So if he beats David Avanesian for a European title, yeah, I'll credit that as a good win. But at the minute, there's a big difference between fighting a contender like David Avanesian and fighting a name like Chris Algieri. It's the gap in class is vast.
Yeah. What do you think of Sonny Edwards' performance the weekend?
I didn't watch it. I've no interest.
Yeah, I've got no interest in Stuart Little. But, he keeps churning out wins. But do you feel that he's in a weight division where nobody really gives a toss about it? And
I'm not interested in it. I'm not interested. I don't even know what the difference is. Yeah. No, I don't. I'm hardcore, right? And I love boxing. I've been watching boxing since I was a kid. I can't even remember. I think my first boxing match was Ben against Gary Stretch. That's how long I've been watching boxing. I've absolutely no interest in that weight division. I looked, he won the world title. Fair play to him. It was a great win. It was a great performance. He beat a seasoned champion who had been a champion a long time. But I look in that division and, I don't see any interest in it. I have no interest in it whatsoever. None.
I didn't know Ben had fought Gary Stretch. Thought it was Eubank.
Sorry, Eubank fought. My first fight was Eubank against Gary Stretch. That's the first fight I watched. Sorry.
Yeah, well, he were a light middleweight, wasn't Gary Stretch?
He was a light middleweight, and he got a middleweight. He got the middleweight. He walked in and got that. He got that world title shot, and I remember watching it. I remember watching young Freddie Roach as well. Freddie Roach was his coach at the time, and he was over training at the wild. It wasn't actually the wild card then. He was over training with Freddie Roach.
Yeah. What do you think to Lomachenko at the weekend, Ken? Were you impressed?
Very impressed. It was a night and day performance from the Teofimo Lopez defeat. It was like a different. He looked like he had been totally rejuvenated. He had movement. He's showing now that he's actually showing a bit more bite and a bit more spite in his punching selection. Yeah. And his shot vocabulary is just like nothing you've seen, the last 10 years. We look at how gifted Usyk is and how talented he is, and he's another fighter who's out of the spectrum, off the spectrum. But you look at Lomachenko's just his performance at the weekend was absolutely amazing performance, and it's good to see that he showed a bit of compassion in a sport that you don't get any compassion at all. It was a fantastic performance from Lomachenko. He looked like, we'd kind of said in a video before that we thought he had been aging a wee bit and he had been slowing down, but I think that performance at the weekend, Russell, just totally contradicts that theory on what was said. What did you think about it?
Well, I was going to ask you if you think that Lomachenko has had a bit of a raw deal from boxing fans in last year, because when you look at his record, really, he's fought everybody. He's a freeweight world champion as well, isn't he?
Yes. What is he now? He's 16-2?
Yeah, but if you look at them two defeats, the first one was his second fight. The guy came in over 2 pounds heavier than him, didn't he? And Loma still made weight. So you could argue on that one. He beat him again easily, wouldn't he? And then this other guy fought him, he only had one arm, didn't he? So he's had a bit of a raw deal, hasn't he, Loma?
Yeah, and Salido at that time, I think he failed 2 tests. He came into that off failing a test, and I think he failed a test after it. So yeah, it's just a seasoned world-class fighter and second fight doing that, it's unheard of in boxing. And the Lopez fight as well, he had that injury and he just looked so restricted. He looked like he was fighting in an arm brace. That's what he looked like, the way he was boxing. And he even pushed Teofimo, and I think that win actually flattered Teofimo Lopez an awful lot. I didn't even put him in the top 5 pound for pound off it, because you look at who's he beat before after that, you know. But I think Lomachenko is pivoting and is stepping in and out of range, and his accuracy with shots it's just beautiful to watch, Russell.
Yeah. What did you think to Robbie Davies Jr. beating Hank Lundy?
Do you know what? I have to give Eddie Hearn credit here. That was actually a really good match on paper.
Yeah.
It was a really, really good paper fight. It was kind of like an inside trade fight. You know, not a lot of casual fans would know who Hank Lundy was before that. You know, he fought multiple world titles. He fought Crawford. He's had a lot of wins. He's very, very experienced. It's good to see them actually investing in Robbie Davies Jr. and investing in Penn to bring somebody like that over. And I thought it was a very, very good win for Robbie. He looks like he's actually really happy, and he looks like he's enjoying his boxing. And I think it's got him a trinket now. He's going to be rated in the WBA somewhere. So I thought it was a really, I think what you've got with Robbie Davies is he's not a slickster. You know, he's not a slick fighter. He's not. He does everything really, really well, and he just did what he does. He used his attributes really, really well, and he got a really, really good win. And I think I've seen him with Shane McGuigan now. He's working with Shane McGuigan, so it's given him a wee bit more confidence and stability, and it's going to get him into a good fight now. It was a great performance. I was delighted for him.
Yeah, because he doesn't shoot his mouth off, does he, Robbie Davies Jr.? He just goes about his business, doesn't he?
Well, he's paid his dues, Russell. He was a British, Commonwealth and European champion. So he's fought at domestic level. He's fought at world level. In that last fight, he had a real raw deal there. And there was a load of shenanigans in the corner and the tactics. And it was just an absolute shambles. So it's just good to see Robbie Davies get a bit of stability now and crack on with the tail end of his career. It was a great performance from him.
I like to see him do well, actually, because he lost his dad, hasn't he, and that. He's had some bad luck in that, hasn't he?
Oh, it's terrible. I just really, really like Robbie Davies. I was delighted. In my opinion, he actually kind of lifted the show a wee bit. You know, he lifted we had basically most of the fights, apart from Arjako, all went the distance, and he lifted. You see that he actually lifted the crowd there and giving them that knockout. He kind of saved the show, so he did with that performance. It was a standout performance from Robbie Davies, and I hope he does really well with the rest of his career. He deserves it.
Yeah. What did you think to Dave Allen going on Instagram and announcing that he were fighting some guy not and 5 pushing 39-year-old, the Cameroon?
I think that fight, if that fight actually happened, I think that guy would be in with a shout to be the worst ever foreign fighter to fight in UK soil. That's disgraceful.
Do you think that, reports were hearing that Dennis didn't know about it, and do you think that's true?
Well, I don't know, but is Dennis not promoting him and managing him? So
Dennis has got Allen's he manages himself, but apparently Dennis is supposed to have a 5-fight deal with him, but I'm not so sure, me. I never saw anybody getting deals up there. It was just a nod. There were no wrote down. And I said, you need to start writing stuff down. Then once they renege on it, you can pin them down. Tell them they're going nowhere. You know, like McDonnell. So he left and he had note down. He reckoned he had a deal with McDonnell, and technically, I'm not so sure if he did. But you've got to tie him down. Bricktop ties him down. Eddie Hearn don't tie him down. If you want to get your son off, he's trying to show authority. And Bricktop, he ties you down. He ties you down. Mick Ennis, they tie you down. Eddie don't give a deal. I think Joshua's only one with a deal there. Nobody else has had a deal. Carl Froch won't have a deal with him.
Is Conor Benn not with him now in a deal?
Conor Benn's with him. I'm not sure if he's got a deal. They probably will have. They feel safer with them, don't they? Benns. They feel safer with Earns, with being in Essex and blah, blah, blah. I mean, Conor Benn's even bought an house, lives near Eddie Earn now. So, do you know what I mean? Look, they're going to hitch the ride up to Earns, the Benns. And if it don't go well, they'll hitch the rides up to Warren's because they're all thick-skinned, aren't they? Don't forget Nigel were flirting between them all, wasn't he, when he were fighting?
Nigel was with, I think Nigel actually promoted himself for a fight.
With Mendy, Bert McCarthy, Peter De Freitas, Don King, Frank Warren, Barry Earn. He's been with them all.
Yeah.
I think they did something with Aram as well at one point when they were with Mendy. They might have worked with Aram when they went over to America.
Yeah, I think the Doug DeWitt fight was a top rank card. It actually was a top rank card.
Well,
so yeah,
they'll not have no qualms about working with another promoter just to look at his business. We do it best for my son or whatever. No messing about whatsoever. Forget all that. I'm not working with him. They'll work with him. Sure as eggs are eggs, because money makes you become a whore. I know that's hard, but you become enslaved to the pound note when you work in this industry. So they might go, God, we've got to work with them after shooting my mouth off all that time. Oh, we'll just say we do it best for our fight and that's it. But really inside, they know they're devastated. They've got to go work with that person again. Like, okay, you know, I've got to work with him again after last time. That's just how it is. And they know that I'm watching. I'm like, oh, yeah, looking after all that you've said. Go on, get yourself off. And that's just how it is. There's not many opportunities about. And that's why people don't want to rock the boat. Like me, of course, and say what they want. And obviously, Julian McGowan's come out and he spoke out, hasn't he?
Julian had a great video the other day. I really enjoyed it. Brilliant boxing brain, brilliant mind. I think he's a really good guy and enjoyed his content. So it did. It's great to hear that from somebody really inside the boxing business. But even you look at Eubank, you know, Eubank had that relationship with Hearn and all, and they had a big fallout at the end. He went on and promoted himself, and
yeah. But what you're missing there is this: when Eubank were with Barry Earn, they weren't allowed to be put near any risks. All right.
Oh,
when there were a risk, they wanted everything had to be locked down in their favour. For instance, they fought Nigel Benn in that rematch, but it ended up a draw, didn't it? And everything was locked down with contracts, and if this person loses, and look, everything was all in everybody's favour. They never did note with Eubank when he was Barry Earn. Look, he had 19 world title wins. Only 4 of them were champions. So other 15, there were no box rec in them days, were there?
No, I remember watching a fight the other week and John Jarvis. Eubank against John Jarvis. Remember that? He was the postman or something like that.
Tony Thornton.
Tony Thornton, yeah, that's right. Tony Thornton. John Jarvis.
Gold dinner lady, John Jarvis.
John Jarvis. Criminal, absolute. I think John Jarvis hadn't even fought in like 2 years. And I think Eubank, at the time that Robbie Sims was calling out Eubank. Marvin Hagler's stepbrother, and Robbie Sims like wasn't a world level fighter. He wasn't even. He was like a journeyman level. He was kind of a named Euro or
Hagler's stepbrother. Ooh.
Yeah, that's what it was, and they didn't even fight him. You know. And I remember when Eubank went over and fought Roccagiani, and I couldn't believe he got the decision in Germany, and I couldn't believe they brought him over to fight in Germany. Then the other fight, I I didn't think that Eubank would have beat Henry Wharton. I didn't think he would have. I think that was Eubank's best win of his career, was the Henry Wharton fight.
And he wasn't a world champion.
No, but he was a good kind of world, you know, I think he had 3 world title shots or something like that, Henry Wharton.
Yeah. Robin Reed, Eubank and Benny fought for world titles.
Yeah, he's a really, really good fighter, a brilliant fighter, in fact.
Mickey Duff fell in love with him, you know, Henry Wharton.
I think he had a big travelling contingent at the time. He had a big travelling background, and he sold a lot of tickets, and he looked well. He spoke really, really well as well. And I think he was I think Mickey Duff trained him and managed him as well. But, you know, that was the Eubank days, you know, the Eubank days. It was just pick anyone and get them in. It was, in the Ray Close fight, you know, we remember that, the whole
back
Ray Close.
The back headbutt.
Yeah, the back headbutt as well. He should have been disqualified for that. And then the whole thing with Michael Watson, that the tragedy what happened with Michael Watson.
They had a good lot. They had a good run, Earns with Eubank, but once the game were up, they couldn't even win purse bids, could they? For Collins Eubank fights, they couldn't even win purse bids, mate. They didn't want to invest in him. Once he'd come to end, they wanted to throw him under a bus in Ireland twice. On Frank Warren shows, then he got beat by Carl Zaghi and Carl Thompson twice on Frank Warren shows. There his only defeats, Eubank, on Frank Warren shows. But when he was with the Hearns, they won't put him near anybody with a heartbeat. A bit like with Joshua. They won't put him near
I actually think he was robbed in the first fight against Carl Thompson. I thought he should have had the decision, to be honest. The second fight, I think Thompson was just too big and too strong. I think that I don't think he had healed from the first fight. But you're right, it was Calzaghe and the 2 Thompson defeats on, and Frank Warren loves saying that when he's on talking. He always loves bringing that up. He just loves sticking at the Barry Hearn.
Well, Barry Hearn won't put Chris Eubank near anybody, and they had a lot of dodgy decisions of it years ago. There were the Ray Close thing, the Michael Watson first fight on the cards. They were fucking shocking decision. That there were other decisions that went their way. The Nigel Benn rematch at Old Trafford. He admitted he thought he got beat, didn't he, Eubank there? They gave it as a score, didn't they? They took a point off Benn in 8th, didn't they? Referee. Because Eubank pulls his shorts up, doesn't he? Really
up to his chest near enough, because he was killing himself to make a weight. And Jimmy Tibbs was actually coaching Ben at that time. And he had Ben boxing. I think Ben totally outjobbed, you know, Eubank. Eubank had a great job, but Ben's boxing skills were actually better on that night. I thought Ben won that fight, and the whole thing where didn't say anything in the contract about a draw, did it?
No, it said winner goes to Barry. Winner goes to Don King. Loser goes to Don King. Draw. They never said no for draw, and it just so happened it was a draw. So it worked. It worked out all right for Bazza. I'm going at you. What we on about then? Just before that
was going on. I can't think. Where we're going. Well, we're talking about Robbie Davis.
No. We were on about something else. Oh, it didn't matter. It'll come back to me. But so we spoke about the Dave Allen situation. Do you think he fights on Friday? Because it's like Wednesday afternoon now. He's supposed to be fighting Friday, but he's been pulled off at show. He's not on box, right? Is he out Friday, yes or no? And if he isn't out Friday, are the rumours doing the rounds right that him and Big Ron have had a fallout?
Listen, that relationship is a business relationship, but it's also like a merry-go-round. So, you know, Dave is, you know, Ron, you know, obviously he invested in him at the start of his career, and he left him as soon as he got a chance to go to the Matchroom. Now that, you know, Matchroom and other promoters have no interest in him, he turned down hundreds of thousands. He's back with Dennis. So listen, that's like a circus merry-go-round of a relationship. I would have no idea. I wouldn't even, if I knew for a fact what was going to happen, I still wouldn't say it, because it's just such a chaotic relationship, to be honest, Russell.
Okay then. Does David Allen win a British title in the next 2 years? Yes or no?
No.
Does he win in English?
No.
Do you think he ever fights again?
If he fights again, he'll be fighting mediocre, beyond mediocre opposition, like his last fight.
Do you think it's a shame how it's turned out for him?
Yes and no.
Because he must have had his dreams, though, like everybody else. David, being a boxer and all that, and how many trainers and managers he's had and all. How many he's done the rounds and that, and look where he's at now. He must be sat with his head in his hands, thinking, "Can't get a fight." And with Dennis here, and there's a budget. It's not like Matchroom, right?
No.
It might be tied to him now, so I don't know. It looks to me like the wheels have come off between them both, and I think that's a shame. But the one fight that I would do to rescue Dave Allen's career, I said, right, no belts online. Do you want to fight Cash Ali? Yes or no? Let's see.
Absolutely.
Just put them in together and try and save the day. That's all Dennis has got to do. But he's trying to be such a smarty pants and keeping them apart that it's having an effect on his business, isn't it? That's what I think.
I said that last year, Russell. You asked me about that, and the first thing that I thought that he had signed or Dave went back for was the Cash Ali fight. You know, Cash Ali needs a name fighter to lift his career to the next level, and Dave Allen needs to fight somebody up and coming to get him back into some sort of position to fight for a British or Commonwealth or some sort of title of note. And there's absolutely 0 point in keeping those two guys. It's actually hurting the two guys' career. You know, that would sell out well. That would sell well. It would be a good Yorkshire, you know, fight. You know, it would sell well. But in Fight Zone, it would probably get a bit of subscription. But just keeping them guys apart at crossroads stages of their career is just, it's absolutely pointless. Doesn't make sense.
Same age, similar records, not similar, but you know, similar ability. Why not? Why not let them get at it instead of keeping them apart? It's a no-brainer, isn't it? If you can put Sheedy and Liam Cameron in together, a super middle in with a middle, or technically a super middle and a light middle. If you put Sam Sheedy and Liam Cameron in together, you can put Cash Ali and Dave Allen in together.
Absolutely. I would get people interested, and putting them in against those type of fights and guys with losing records, nobody's going to care. Nobody's going to want to tune in to watch that.
Yeah, Max, you know Max who comes on here, Maximus.
Yeah.
Guy with Volvo, heart of a breadcrumb. He wants to fight Perry Howe, Dennis's cruiserweight charge. 3-1-1 he is, Perry Howe. Is that right?
Fair play to him.
Perry against Maximus at heavyweight for all the marbles. Perry Howe, I know you're watching. If you ever win an area belt, I'll jump in the River Don in a pair of shorts and t-shirt. How's about that, Perry? Because I'm that confident you don't win an area belt. So stop chatting nonsense about being an area champion. Go win the belt, get in touch with me, and I'll jump in Don. Oh. Imagine if I had to jump in there with all them rats, water rats and all that.
Let me. Oh.
I'd be devastated, but I'm that confident that Perry Howe don't win an area belt. Perry, you don't win one. It's not in you, mate. prove me wrong though. But I'd like to see Maximus fight Perry Howe, shut him up. But we're going to see, aren't we? We'll see. But Dennis should just put Cash Ali in and Dave Allen together. That's just my opinion. But okay then. At weekend, we've seen a few bits of action here, there, and everywhere. What did you think to the hype? What do you think to the hype surrounding Jack Catterall and Josh Taylor and Chisora and Parker? Well, how do you see them results going this weekend?
I see Josh Taylor winning inside the distance. I think it's an absolute disgrace that he hasn't even been shortlisted for the BBC Sports Personality of the Year. But that's a worthless accolade anyway. So
he's not got much of a personality though, has he really?
But to be honest, you know, we look at some of the other people who have been on it and won it over the years. They didn't have much personality as well. You know, is it for athletes or is it for personality? Is it for?
I think Michael Owen won it, didn't he, in 1998? He scored a goal in World Cup, didn't he? A solo goal, so they give him it. But didn't we say he's got a great personality, does it?
No.
Though he won that and he went to win Ballon d'Or a couple of years later. Fair enough, he did well, but you won't say, oh, come on, let's go out for a drink. Yeah, let's go pick Michael Owen up. He's a right night out. I mean,
So I've got a funny Michael Owen story. So I remember him. He was on speaking on one of those programs or whatever, and they asked him about. I think it was. Correct me on this, guys, if I'm wrong, but I think it was Anthony Joshua and Klitschko. Or it was it was an AJ fight anyway.
We have splinters in his arse.
And they says, right, Michael, who's going to win the fight? And he says, right, well, I'm going to go with the guy who lands the knockout blow. I think that's who's going to win. And I'm like, that is the worst. That's just absolutely.
That's what they do. So, they learn that. They learn that at PR school. Lineker comes out with stuff like that. What they do, they learn how to sit on fence because they're shit in the pants and they don't want to give an opinion like Coogan.
Absolute nonsense. But I see Josh Taylor winning inside the distance. I think Jack Catterall is a really good fighter. I think he's a good British European / fighter. But you know, Josh Taylor
barely Euro level, isn't it, Jack Catterall?
Yes.
British level.
Yes.
British level. He's going in with a guy who's elite, isn't he?
Absolutely.
So it's the mismatch. So we're going to have Ben Davison rammed down our throats for the next 7 days, after this. He's unbearable, aren't you, Ben?
I just want you, Russell.
He's unbearable.
You've just got that wee machine out of your tummy, Russell, so I would suggest you don't even watch him or you mute him. But I see Josh Taylor winning inside the distance, looking really good. I think he's an exceptional fighter. He's incredible. I just love Josh Taylor. He's brilliant. He's brilliant.
A good fighter.
I see Parker Chisora. It's a fight I don't actually want to watch. If there's anything better on TV, I'll probably watch it instead. If not, I'll probably watch it. It was probably the worst heavyweight fight I've seen in a long time. I think Joseph Parker's fight before that against Junior Fa was absolutely shocking as well. Shocking. I think the only time I think his performance against AJ was shocking, was really, really bad. I don't think he beat Andy Ruiz either in Australia. I don't think he won that fight. I think the only time I've actually seen him look exciting was against Alex Leapai, his countryman, and he's Mark Demore level. So no, it's a fight I don't want to see, to be honest. It's a rematch of a fight that was shocking, absolutely shocking. I'm not even going to pick a winner, Russell, because I'm so disinterested in it. What is the significance? It wasn't the war. It wasn't the classic. There was no drama in the fight whatsoever. I fell asleep watching it. What is the significance in that rematch, and where are they going to go? Where are them two guys going to go? Because they're not top 15 heavyweights.
Skid Row, mate. That's where they're heading for. Skid Row.
Terrible fight. I don't want to watch it. It'll be the Matchroom Merc. I actually could see the winner fighting Zhang, the slowest heavyweight I've ever seen in my life. He's absolutely atrocious. I could see the winner fighting him next. That's where they're going, and it's not. It's a worthless fight.
Where do you see Ergovic going next?
To be honest with you, Russell, I was really disappointed in his last performance. I thought he looked overweight. I thought he looked slow. He looked ponderous. I don't know why he's got this, maybe he had this sparring reputation way back, but, I don't see him. You look at the likes of Jerry Forrest, who drew with Michael Hunter last week. I would give him a chance against Hrgovic. I don't see the hype around Philip Herbert. I don't see the hype around Filip Hrgovic at all, to be honest. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of hearing about this IBF ranking. I'm bored with it. Go and fight somebody.
Where do you see Yui going? Because they haven't got him an opponent at the moment, have they, Yui?
I think someone like a European title fight would be great for Huey. I think the European title is vacant at the minute. I think Caballero would be a great opponent for Huey. I think someone like a Jonathan Dupois, who fought Wilder there, he's come back. I think he would be a good opponent. He would have a European ranking. Someone like that for Huey would be absolutely right. I would take Huey to beat Caballero 7 days a week.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'd have him beat Caballero. And Caballero took Chisora to score, didn't
he? Yeah. He really outboxed him in Monaco that time. Maybe even like Marco Huck, who's still at heavyweight and has a high European ranking, for a vacant European belt. I think that would be a good move for him. I'm trying to think of someone else.
He's knocking on a bit though now, Kent, isn't he, Hawk? Don't you think he'd be old?
If you got him for a vacant European title fight, what would be a good match? That would be a European title win, and that's a top.
You're old though, isn't he, Kent? Now him, Hawk. He's an old man.
Yeah. Maybe even someone down the line, like probably Carlos Takam would be a good fight for Hugh at this stage of his career.
Maybe
that would be a good fight for him.
Parker rematch after this one, which Chisora would be a good one, I think. Or Chisora.
Chisora, yeah. Well, I seen Chisora's been palling up Frank this last couple of months, so it depends where it's going to be in TV. I think if he's offered good money for it, he would take it. But any of those fights for Huey would be even Jerry Forrest, the guy that drew with Michael Hunter last week and should have got that win. That would be a good solid opponent for Huey, and it would be a good fight on Sky.
Yeah. Okay then. Well, listen, thanks for coming on, Kent. You've been a real addition to the Porky Express train, as usual.
What did you think of Terry's? He was is Jim McDonald accent the other day?
Terry doesn't do a good Irish accent in
come on, Terry. Like even I can't do a good Irish accent. That's why I don't. Yeah, it was good. It was a good show the other night with Terry, and the content. I really enjoy listening to Terry, and maybe some people think he's more biased to other fighters, but I just see Terry just calls it as how he sees it. I don't think he would be like that. You know, Terry's very opinionated and knowledgeable with his opinion. So I find Terry's content's very balanced and very, very good and very knowledgeable. And
yeah, but
he's brilliant.
It's all about the journey that Terry's been on.
I love listening to Terry. I listen to Terry all day long. His stories are brilliant.
Body of work.
Laying hands on, I love it. Absolutely love it. So Terry, start practicing your Jim McDonald accent a bit better than that. Come on, lad.
Right. Okie dokie then. Well, listen, Kent, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for coming on. You're still the hardcore's hardcore. How's about that?
Thank you very much. I hope everybody enjoys the content. And if I'm on again before Christmas,
you will be. If
I'm not, Merry Christmas to everyone and hope everyone's keeping well.
There you go. Look at that. Merry Christmas from the hardcore's hardcore. And he's wearing a boxing top. Go on, lad. Oh, that I bet you've got to stick with shit on end of it, Kent, and I bet you have to fend out women off around your area. That's see, go on, get away from me. Go on, leave me alone.
I don't know why. I wouldn't know why. No. Yes. Just try to be a decent. Is that Rocky?
Yeah.
Rocky?
Hey, Rocky, come here. Say hello. Say hello to Kent. Yeah, see hardcore. Say hello.
All right, Rocky.
Say hello. Say hello.
At least
he's doing me nothing.
At least he's not running away on you this time, Russell.
Yeah. Go on, burn rubber. Burn rubber means wheel spin off. Go on.
At least he's not running away on you this time, Russell.
Yeah, I took him over Farmers Fields and he shut off from me this time last year. Wait a couple of hours for him and look about for him. I was worried. But, like losing a child, isn't it, when you lose your dog? Well, I lost him a couple of times in 6.5 years, so that's not bad, is it?
He always comes back for his wee penguin, doesn't he?
Comes back for his mint penguin, his treat once a week.
Brilliant.
Right, well, listen, you have a good day. And I'll get this out today and we'll get Weapon at Week out. I'll tell you who's won that.
Who is it?
Bellew and Bellew and Barker joint. I couldn't decide because I picked that down, so I thought, you know what, I'll pick them both because they're both picks.
What I didn't like about him, like Kevin Ajarko was absolutely sensational on Saturday night from Belfast. Great fighter, Holy Trinity fighter, world-class amateur. Yeah. I've been talking about him on the channel and he was absolutely world-class. And Bellew gave him no credit whatsoever. So there you go, Tony. I'm glad you got Weapon of the Week. And as well, like, I think his hairs actually died off him, to be honest.
No, do you know before they go on air, they're told who to big up and who not to big up. They're told. So I'm not going to say that, but they're told. I've heard back anyway. I've known years, but they're told who to big up, and I have a problem with it. And you know, with football and that, they're not told, you know, because I've heard back because I know people in that industry or my business partner does. They're told. They're not told. They leave them to
they have opinions,
and this is why football will always be bigger than boxing, because boxing, they're trying to control narrative. It's a bit like communism, isn't it? Boxing, control.
Yeah, it is.
Whereas football, they just let them go with it, run with it, don't they? But we'll keep chipping away, see if we can get somebody to come and take boxing border control of her and put them in the place. That's all it needs. Some honest people to come in and say, do you know what, doing all this wrong. Sport's going to go underground in 5-10 years, so let's do it right, and everybody can eat.
Russell, it near did in the 70s. It near did in the 70s. You know, we look at the it's not unlicensed; it's licensed in their own. You know, it was that old IBA. It was the whole it was like Sir Roy Shaw and that, because the fights weren't being made and the board
Mountain York
weren't helping out, people wanted to go and see entertainment, and they give people entertainment, you know, like Sir Roy Shaw and Lenny McLean and all those fighters, all those, you know, fighters from that, you know, type of background who probably, you know, I think Roy went to get a license and they wouldn't give him one. So he went and they'd done their own thing. And, you know, look at the legacy that they left behind. It's, you know, some of those, you know, the stories and the fights. And they actually drove. It was the board that did that, you know, it brought that underground, so to speak. So will it happen again on that scale? I don't know, but there's something needs to be changed drastically.
It sure does, Ken. But listen, keep fighting the good fight, and I'll see you after the weekend, Monday or something, yeah?
Take care, everybody. Take care,
Russell. Ken. Bye. Bye. Well, that was Ken, the hardcore's hardcore, all the way from Belfast. Nice kid. I think that's about it, really. What time is it now? Oh. 1:15. See if we can get this out today. If not, it'll be out tomorrow. Probably be out tomorrow, this. Yeah, because I just told him we'll want weapon at week, so it'll have to be out tomorrow. Okie dokie, peace out. Keep on trucking, keep sporting boxing. Don't have nightmares. Big shout out that to Frank in Bury, Danny, and all of them boys over there, Dave, Rick Maudsley, all them lads. Peace out.